Everyone, welcome to the crossroads of retirement planning, where every decision can reshape your financial future. Today, we're going to be diving into the world of Social Security benefits, unraveling some of the mysteries of early retirement versus waiting, and how each choice can significantly impact your golden years. Whether you are an early bird eager to spread your wings or a wise waiter playing the long game, understanding the nuances of Social Security can unlock the door to a retirement filled with security and opportunity. So if you ever wondered how to make the most out of your hard-earned benefits, you're in the right place. Let's embark on this journey together and discover how strategic choices today can lead to a more prosperous tomorrow. Stay tuned as we unveil the insights that could very well be the game changer in your retirement playbook. Let's dive in. Hi everyone, my name's Corey. We're going to cover 4 topics in today's video. We're going to discuss what the full retirement age is with respects to Social Security benefits. We're going to talk about the early birds versus the wise waiters and how you're going to be positively or negatively affected based on when you pull your Social Security income. We're going to also talk about the break-even point on Social Security, whether it makes the most sense to pull at 62, 67, or 70. What age does it not really matter in the big scheme of things? And then lastly, some other strategic considerations we're going to discuss that you ought to consider for your own Social Security benefits down the road. Your Social Security full retirement age is the age at which you're entitled to your full Social Security benefit without any reductions for early retirement and without any increases for delaying your retirement. Now, anybody who is born in 1960 or thereafter is going to have a full retirement age of 67. That's what I'm going to use in the upcoming numbers that I discuss in my slides. But note that if you were born prior to 1960, your full retirement age is going to be 66 and X number of months. Your Social Security statement should be able to point you in that right direction. At some point, I will explain the calculation to determine what the appropriate age is for you. But for sake of this presentation today, we're going to use age 67 as somebody's full retirement age. Now, what would happen in the event you wanted to pull your Social Security early? In this instance, let's assume age 62. Well, claiming your Social Security at age 62 will reduce your monthly benefits by about 30%. If there's not an exact number to, well, there's an exact number to it. The formula is very complicated, but in short, for simplicity's sake, I'm going to assume or use a rate of approximately 5 to 6% less per year every year that you pull it early. In this instance, it's going to be approximately 30% less if you pulled it at age 62 versus waiting until age 67. Since 67 is the full retirement age, you would not have any reduced or increased benefit in this instance. Now let's compare that to age 70 if you wanted to wait until age 70 to pull your Social Security benefits. How it works for age 70 in this instance, you're going to have an 8% increase per year that you wait or defer your benefits to down the road. So keep in mind that if you were going to defer your benefits, you're also going to miss out on the income that would have happened in the event you took them early at age 62 or age 67 compared to if you waited until you turned 70. If you're comparing that versus when you should have pulled it at age 62, you're going to miss out on 8 years worth of income before you ever get your first paycheck. So on the upcoming slides, I've put together a little bit of information to help us understand where the break-even point is, the age at which it didn't really matter, whether you pulled it at age 62 or 65 or 67 or 70 or anywhere in between. There is not an exact science to it or an exact number to it because there are a lot of moving variables. Note that on my upcoming slides, they're not going to be inflation adjusted, whereas the world we live in, we do have inflation, and I fully expect that to mess with our Social Security benefits, probably moving them upward over time based on dollars purchasing less and less every day, the more that we have in circulation. So keep that in consideration on this next slide here. So here is a graph that I put together. The green is going to represent what your income would have been collectively collected by Social Security at age 62. Yellow is going to represent age 67, and red is going to represent age 70. So what you'll notice is if I hover over age 65, if you started pulling Social Security at age 62, you would have gotten paid out a total of $84,000 by this time. How I came up with that number, I used the full retirement age in this instance as 67, with the full retirement benefit being $2,500 or $30,000 annually. So on the previous slide, we talked about how your benefits are going to be approximately 30% less. So in this instance, at age 62, the first year they're going to receive $21,000. That is exactly 30% less than $30,000 or $2,500 a month times 12 is how I came up with these numbers. So if I hover over to age 65, this would have been 4 years you would have received your Social Security benefit payment if you pulled it at 62, whereas at 67 and 70, we've not started pulling it yet if we're trying to compare those numbers. So let's hover over age 67 now. Age 67 shows that by age 62, you would have gotten compensated a total of $126,000. At age 67, you would have had your first year's worth of payments for $30,000. And if we're comparing to the person who waited till age 70, they would have not got paid anything yet. So as you'll notice the trend of these lines, by the time we're looking at age, let's look at age 70, for example, how far apart they are. And you'll notice as we slide up, they get closer and closer and closer, whereas some point it makes the most sense to defer waiting on your Social Security for as long as you can, assuming that Social Security is going to be around till the end of your life, assuming that there's no reduction of benefits permanently by the government, but also when we take into consideration your mortality rate or the likelihood of you living past a certain age. So we'll get into some strategies here in just a moment, but that is one of them that you might want to consider. So looking back at the numbers though, by age 70 for all three of the comparable individuals that we're looking at here, the person who started taking Social Security at age 62 would have received a total of $189,000. That's $21,000 per year times 9 years in this instance. The age 67 Social Security pulling individual would have received a total of $120,000 so far, or 4 years worth of benefits, 67, 68, 69, and 70, assuming that we're front loading all these benefits in the first day of the year. I know that's not reality, but just for simplicity's sake and graphing's sake. Whereas the 70-year-old is going to receive exactly $37,200 per year. So again, over time, if you kick the bucket by age 75, who won in this instance? It's going to be the person who pulled it at age 62, whereas age 67 came in second place and age 70 came in third place, because the total dollars that were collected over the lifetime of these individuals, the one who started pulling Social Security the soonest was the one that got paid the most. Now, something interesting happens at age 78. At age 78 is the first time that the 67-year-old actually has received more net dollars than what the 62-year-old has. So again, if you're going to die before the age of 78, it makes the most sense to pull your Social Security as soon as humanly possible in this instance. In the event you're going to die at age 78, it makes the most sense to either pull your Social Security at age 67 or 62. It's a virtual tie for simplicity's sake. It really did not make sense to wait for your benefits because you would have gotten paid out only $334,000 at age 78, whereas by the individual who was waiting until 70 to pull benefits. Whereas again, the 62 and 67-year-old both almost made $360,000 apiece. Now, let's point out the next consideration that we might want to look at. Let's look at age 81. 81 is the first time, actually it's 82 is what we'll go to. 82, it's actually 81 and a half is what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to finish on. At 81 and a half or 82 on my graphs here, the 62-year-old got paid out a total of only $441,000 over their lifetime. The 67-year-old got paid $480,000. We already knew that they were going to be paid more because their monthly benefit was more, and the cresp happened at age 78 between the 62 and 67-year-old. But the 70-year-old finally caught up, and they have gotten paid a total of $483,600 by the age of 82. So in the event you are going to live past the age of 82, you should be waiting to defer your benefits for as long as you can, or waiting until age 70. Now, if we had the crystal ball to know exactly when you were going to die, this would be a little bit easier of an equation because it would be very black and white. If we knew we were going to die at age 77, we're going to pull our income at age 60, or Social Security at age 62. If we know we're going to die at age 79, then we know we're going to wait until 67 to pull our Social Security. Or if we know we're going to die past the age of 82, we're going to wait until after, or we're going to wait as long as we can until age 70 to turn on our Social Security. So I hope this graph is semi-helpful. Now let's move on to a couple of different strategies that you might also want to consider, not just the raw numbers behind this. So let's compare the early bird versus the waiter. So the early bird is going to have a reduction in benefits. We saw that in the previous slide that I just showed you guys, and the graph explaining the break-even point between all different levels of Social Security and when you pull those benefits. There is a little catch with an early bird though. In the event you want to work while you are pulling your Social Security benefits, if you pull them early, you are going to be limited to a certain amount of income that you can make yearly. For the year of 2024, you're going to be limited to $22,320 that you can make of earned income from working part-time for something if you're going to be taking your benefits early. In the event you make more than this, for every $2 you make over this limit, you're going to have a $1 permanent reduction in your Social Security benefits. So that is one thing that you strongly will want to take into consideration if you're going to pull in your benefits early, is that you cannot be working a part-time gig and making more than this after the first year of Social Security. The first year is kind of a fluke. And I say that because you can make up to $56,000 and some change the first year you go on to Social Security. But in the following years thereafter, you're going to be limited to making this much until you reach full retirement age, or in this instance, age 67. So let me give you an example. Somebody pulls their Social Security benefits at age 62, and they want to work part-time, making $20,000 per year for the next 10 years in this instance, by age 72. Well, they can do that fine and dandy with no problems whatsoever for the first 5 years. And after they reach the age 67, if they want to go back to working full-time, or they somehow come up with a business idea and they're making $1 million per year, they can make as much as they want after they've reached the age of 67. Prior to that, they would not want to pursue that business idea and potentially have millions of dollars of income, because they may be losing their Social Security benefit from making too much earned income. So that's just one consideration you probably want to consider thinking about. And that's where, if you want to compare it to the waiter, somebody who waits to pull their Social Security, they can work for as long as they want. There is no income limitations after you reach the age of 67, whether you're pulling Social Security or not. But by age 70, that is the latest that you should wait to start pulling your benefit, because there's not going to be any increases of 8% per year for any longer waiting after that point in time, at least at the date of making this video in February of 2024. Decisions you should be considering for yourself. So these are the most important factors for individuals to consider when taking on Social Security benefits. We'll be looking more or less about 4 different categories. So we're going to look at personal health and life expectancy. So we kind of hit on that a little bit earlier. How long are you going to live until? That's going to be a big part of the formula on determining when you should pull your benefits. If your family has a history of significantly living past the regular age of individuals, then maybe you ought to consider waiting. Or in the event that your family does not make it very long, let's say your parents didn't make it past the age of 72, 73, then it might make sense to pull your Social Security early, assuming that you are expecting your life expectancy to be lower due to that as well, due to hereditary reasons. Another thing we would want to consider is your employment status and your income. So your retirement income planning. So that's going to be kind of tied to your financial needs and goals as well. So what are you making now? Are you making enough that you would have a reduction in benefits if you pulled it early, if you have that opportunity to do so? Or are you still wanting to work part-time and make more than that $22,000 that I referred to earlier in the year of 2024? That might limit you from wanting to turn on those benefits for the permanent reduction that you could be having. The financial goals and considerations, though, what's going to make the most sense for your future self, for your retired self, if you aren't already retired when you're considering turning on your benefits? Does it make sense to take the income early so you can have less drawdown on your investment portfolio? Or does the opposite make sense? Do you think you might not live as long? Does the opposite make sense? Do you think you have longevity and you want to live on the assets that you have, your investment assets, for the first few years of retirement while waiting for your Social Security to build up so you can have a lifelong guaranteed payment? It's a matter of comfort level with risk and financial goals, which I'm happy to discuss with anybody if they'd be interested, or talk with a financial advisor about to see if it's something that is applicable to you. And then lastly, marital status and your survivor benefits are going to be applicable to you. So I didn't really hit on this in the video, but let's assume husband and wife both have benefits. Let's assume the wife's full retirement benefit is going to be $1,000 a month, and the husband's full retirement benefit is going to be $2,500 a month. Well, in the event that they both are the same age, if they're different ages, it makes it a little bit more complicated, but we can go down that path. In the event they're the same age, the wife or the spouse can take the spousal benefit of the husband. The spousal benefit is just a 50% Social Security payment of what the husband has in this instance. So the wife could either take her benefit of $1,000, or she could take the spousal benefit of her husband of $1,250. Now let's play out a different scenario. Let's assume that they didn't need the Social Security for right now. They had investment assets that could get them to age 68 or 69, for example, and they wanted the increase in benefits. Well, if the husband's increase in benefits, it jumps from $2,500 a month all the way up to $3,000 per month, then the wife's spousal benefit's going to jump up directly by 50 or by as much as well, relative. So instead of her taking $1,250 a month of the spousal benefit whenever he would take it at full retirement age, she would be entitled to half of his $3,000 a month that he let it grow into. So that's another strategic consideration. There's a lot of moving parts is the short version of this. Take into consideration all your variables before deciding to pull the trigger to make the move. With that being said, if you would like any assistance or any additional information on this, feel free to reach out to us. Our contact information will be in the bottom of this video description. Thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoy the rest of it. Talk to you soon.